You are sitting on your couch, staring at your phone and waiting for a delivery driver. The app says $30 for a single lukewarm burger. That is $30 just to avoid leaving your house. Meanwhile, miles away, an Amish family of 10 is sitting down to a massive feast. The direct cash cost of their entire table? In some cases, barely even $1. This is not just a difference in budgeting. It is a total collapse of modern survival. We pay a premium just to avoid moving, desperately trying to find ways to save money on groceries. But we keep failing. We spend $15 on a single sandwich, only to feel hungry again in 2 hours. We have outsourced our survival to giant corporations. We can barely boil an egg without a video tutorial. But the Amish do things differently. Some accounts suggest they can spend as little as $50 a week on outside groceries, and that is for a family of 10.
How is that even possible in today's economy? Is it really just about buying in bulk? Or have we forgotten a fundamental truth about food? Their secret is a deep, forgotten understanding of food density. They eat meals designed to fuel 12 hours of intense, back-breaking farm labor. These are meals made from scratch, using things we throw in the trash. To a modern cook, a leftover chicken bone is garbage. It goes straight into the bin without a second thought. But in an Amish kitchen, throwing away that bone is seen as a financial sin. How does a meal that costs almost nothing keep a grown man working in the fields all day? The answer lies in a culinary magic trick, and it starts with a single, humble ingredient: the chicken. When we go to the grocery store, we buy boneless, skinless breasts wrapped in plastic. We pay a massive premium for someone else to do the butchering. The Amish do the exact opposite. They buy or raise the whole bird, and they do not see a single dinner. They see 4 separate family feasts. The prime meat is carefully set aside. But the real magic happens with what most modern cooks throw in the trash. The bones, the skin, and the fat are boiled for hours. This creates a rich, heavy broth packed with natural collagen. It is thick, warming, and incredibly filling. But broth on its own cannot sustain a hard worker for 12 hours. To lock in that energy, they need a carrier, and that is where the noodle stretching technique comes in. They take simple flour and crack in a few eggs. They knead the dough by hand, rolling it flat and cutting it into thick, heavy ribbons. These are not delicate, fancy noodles. They are dense. When boiled in that chicken broth, they absorb the liquid like a sponge. Because these dense noodles are packed with complex starches, they digest slowly. This helps keep the body feeling full and energized for hours on very little actual meat. This is not a romantic lifestyle choice. It is a cold, calculated formula. Cheap starch acts as the carrier, and rendered animal fat serves as the energy lock. Food bloggers might call this artisanal, but in a traditional kitchen, it is pure mathematics. Every single calorie is squeezed, stretched, and multiplied. But what if you do not even have a chicken? What if you have almost nothing left in your cupboards? There is an ultimate survival recipe that takes this science even further. It requires just a bit of flour, a pinch of salt, and a few scraps of leftover fat. Yet it can keep an entire family fed for days, all without a single watt of electricity. But here is the catch. That incredibly cheap family feast is not actually cheap. It is just paid for in a currency we no longer use. That currency is time, and it requires an unbelievable amount of intense human labor. You see, that $50 weekly grocery bill is highly misleading. The Amish only spend that cash on things they cannot produce themselves. We are talking about basic raw ingredients like salt, baking soda, and yeast. Everything else on that table is bought with what economists call sweat equity. To put that low-cost meal on the table, a family must invest hundreds of hours of manual labor. Before the flour even reaches the kitchen, someone had to plant the grain. Someone had to harvest it, mill it, and carry the heavy sacks. Every single day, before the sun even rises, the work begins. Cows must be milked by hand. Gardens must be weeded under a scorching sun. Firewood must be chopped, stacked, and carried to the stove. This is not a relaxing weekend hobby. It is a relentless, exhausting cycle of survival. Now, let us look at this through a modern financial lens. Imagine a city dweller decides to copy this lifestyle to save money on groceries. They spend 4 hours baking a single loaf of bread from scratch. They manage to save maybe $3. But is that actually a smart financial decision?
For most people, it is a complete financial disaster. By spending 4 hours to save $3, you have valued your own time at 75 cents an hour. How does that make sense when you could work a regular job instead? In those same 4 hours, you could have earned $100 an hour. With that money, you could buy 20 loaves of bread and still have cash left over. This is the trap of the self-sufficiency myth. You cannot copy Amish survival hacks if you are still paying city rent. You cannot run a homestead while working a 9-to-5 office job. Their economy works because they have stepped completely outside of our system. So, if we cannot copy their lifestyle, does that mean we are trapped? Are we doomed to be slaves to overpriced, processed food forever? Well, not quite, because there is a middle ground, a hidden bridge between their survival wisdom and our modern reality. But before you rush to unplug your refrigerator and try to live like it's $17.99, there is a silent danger you need to meet. Its name is Clostridium botulinum. In the world of off-grid food preservation, this bacteria is the undisputed king, and the line between saving $10 and ending up in the intensive care unit is razor thin. When people try home canning without the right equipment, they create a dangerous trap. A sealed, oxygen-free glass jar is an absolute paradise for botulinum. Without precise pressure and extreme heat, a deadly toxin can build up in total silence. You cannot smell it, you cannot taste it, but even a microscopic amount can be fatal. Then there is the raw milk paradox. Unpasteurized dairy is a cornerstone of the traditional Amish diet. Yet for an unprepared stomach, raw milk can carry a high risk of listeria and E. coli. Our modern urban immune systems are relatively sterile. We live in highly sanitized environments, far away from soil and livestock. Because of this, a city dweller's gut microbiome is simply not equipped for raw pathogens. The Amish gut likely adapted over generations of constant farm life. Their immune systems are trained daily by their environment. But if you suddenly switch to raw dairy, it could easily mean a midnight trip to the emergency room. This is a serious medical reality. Do not try to preserve meats without a pressure canner, and do not consume raw dairy without knowing the strict biological risks. The stakes are simply too high. But this leaves us with a massive dilemma. If shutting down the fridge and curing our own meat is too dangerous, how do we escape the system? How do we stop paying a heavy premium to food corporations? We want to claw back our financial freedom, but we want to do it safely. The answer does not require you to buy a farm or raise a cow. It starts with a simple change in how we view the ingredients already sitting in our pantry. Let us be honest about what happens when you walk into a modern grocery store. You are not just buying food anymore. You are voluntarily paying a massive, invisible tax. Some call it the convenience tax, but let us call it what it really is. It is a laziness tax. Take a simple, humble potato. If you buy a 5-pound bag of raw potatoes, it might cost you a couple of dollars. But if you buy those exact same potatoes pre-sliced, frozen, and sealed in a flashy plastic bag, the price can easily leap by 10 or even 20 times. Think about that markup. You are paying a massive premium just because a machine did 30 seconds of chopping for you. This is how we lose our ability to save money on groceries. We see this everywhere. A single pound of wheat grain costs pennies. Grind it, and the flour is still incredibly cheap. But let a factory bake it, slice it, and wrap it in plastic, suddenly you are paying 5 times more. And if you buy that same slice of bread toasted at a trendy cafe, a few cents of wheat has suddenly transformed into a $6 artisanal breakfast. The irony is almost painful. We pay extra for pre-chopped green onions in plastic cups just to save 2 minutes of slicing. Then we pay $50 a month for a gym membership to burn off the energy we saved. It is a brilliant trap, and it is entirely by design. Modern supermarkets are engineered like physical mazes. They place the basic raw ingredients all the way in the back. To get to them, you have to walk past endless shelves of colorful boxes and pre-packaged meals. By the time you reach the fresh produce, your brain is already tired. The system is designed to make cooking raw food feel like an exhausting chore. It subtly guides you toward those plastic trays of pre-processed food. But here is the exciting part. You do not need to buy a horse and buggy or move to rural Pennsylvania to escape this cycle. You do not need to reject the modern world entirely. There is a middle way, a hybrid solution that you can start using tonight right inside your own kitchen. We can call it apartment homesteading. This urban blueprint relies on 3 simple rules. These rules are designed to reclaim your kitchen, protect your health, and slash your grocery bill by a massive margin. Let us look at the first rule. We call it the raw-only purchase rule. This means you stop buying anything a factory has already chopped, mixed, or seasoned for you. You buy the whole dusty potato, the raw cabbage, and the untrimmed meat. Yes, it takes a few extra minutes of prep, but you instantly stop paying that massive convenience tax. You pocket the difference. The second rule is the acid-fat-starch stretch. This is the exact culinary technique that allows a single chicken to feed a massive family. You use cheap, bulky starches like potatoes or rice as your canvas. Then you enrich them with a high-quality fat and a sharp splash of acid to bring out the flavor. To get that fat, you can easily render your own pork lard at home. Just buy cheap pork fat back from a local butcher and melt it down slowly in a pot. What you get is a clean, incredibly flavorful cooking fat that easily replaces expensive vegetable oils. Plus, you get crispy pork cracklings as a delicious byproduct. These crispy bits add an intense, savory crunch to a simple bowl of rice. But we must establish a strict safety boundary here. Always follow modern food safety standards. Never attempt to preserve or can meats at home unless you are using proper, certified pressure canning equipment. The third rule is the FIFO method. This stands for first in, first out. It is a logistics system used by major shipping warehouses, but it works wonders in a home kitchen. You pull the oldest ingredients to the very front of your shelves so they get eaten first. This simple habit can virtually eliminate food waste. Because food waste is just your hard-earned money rotting in a cold box. By mastering these 3 rules, you stop being a passive consumer. You become the active manager of your own kitchen microeconomy. And this is where the real shift happens. Because true financial freedom is not actually about how much money you can earn and throw away. It is about how little you need to live well. But what happens when you want to take this self-reliance beyond the kitchen? We often measure our wealth by the limit on our credit cards. We think freedom means buying whatever we want whenever we want it. But that is a fragile kind of freedom. The Amish suggest a completely different definition of being rich. They do not focus on accumulating piles of paper money. Instead, they focus on eliminating their dependence on the outside world. When you do not need the system to feed you, that system loses its power over you. Inflation can soar, supply chains can break down, yet your table remains full because you know how to turn a simple bag of flour into a feast. That is the ultimate shield. It is the quiet confidence of knowing your family will eat no matter what happens tomorrow. So let us start tonight. Step away from the delivery apps and the prepackaged boxes. Look at the raw ingredients already sitting in your kitchen. Cook something from scratch. Feel the texture of the flour and the warmth of the stove. It is a small step, but it is a radical act of self-reliance. If you want to see how this mindset extends beyond the kitchen, there is more to learn. Our next video explores how they heat their homes in sub-zero winters without a single wire connected to the power grid. For now, remember this: self-reliance is the only true freedom. Now, a quick safety note. Home food preservation and raw dairy carry real biological risks. Always consult certified food safety guidelines before trying these self-sufficiency methods at home.